Let's talk about this wobble. Talk about it all week. It's funny. Ever since people have been pointing it out with Trey Lance, now I see it with Jimmy. Jimmy's pass has a wobble. Didn't used to when he first got here, but there's a definite wobble. It's just that Trey's pass travels twice as fast. So what are you seeing with Trey's wobble?
So I think, well, first I want to talk about why I think why it's affecting receivers and why they can't catch it. And I meant to bring up football on, but I forgot. So I'll try to illustrate with a pen. So normally when you catch a football, right, you're catching you're catching the point, right? So here, and the point travels here, and when it's wobbling, the point it's moving like this, okay? And so when it's doing that with heavy velocity, okay, and it hits your hand, I mean the way physics works is when it hits your hand here, the force is gonna hit here and then bounce the ball back here. So if it's not traveling in an appropriate spin and it's wobbling, it becomes a more dynamic ball, and it becomes very tough for a receiver to catch to catch it. And then prior to that, which Kyle even has talked about before, about, people talk about hands themselves, but the first part of catching the football, maybe the most important part, is the hand-eye coordination. So you have to track the ball in order to catch it. So receivers are tracking that tip, and if it's moving, if it's rotating, it's tougher to track and to see where it's going to go. And then when you have all that velocity on it, it just makes it super tough to actually catch. And that's why people say, oh, well, Peyton Manning threw wobbly balls. Well, yeah, he threw wobbly balls late in his career when he didn't have the arm strength, and it was a lot easier to catch. We all know, I mean, it's been said out there that Trey has probably the best arm in the draft, and you're putting all that velocity and power behind it. It makes it really difficult to catch. Now, these guys are pros, and they should catch football, but as a quarterback, it's your job to make it the easiest as possible for them.
Yep, and he's not going to be doing that. But neither did Brett Favre. I mean, there's been a lot of successful quarterbacks who had some serious velocity, and I mean, I'm not saying that Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk ever will be able to handle this, but those guys are on the team because Jimmy's a quarterback. Like, the Niners have been trying to draft yak specialists for the last 3 years because of Jimmy's limitations, and if they want to pivot, if they ever decide to actually go all in with Trey Lance, they might want to prioritize guys that just can catch the most difficult pass, because I don't see him, all of a sudden developing a super nice spiral or taking a ton of touch. I think he'll have to learn to harness his velocity to an extent, and he'll have to throw a better spiral to an extent to be great. But at the same time, the Niners are probably going to have to bring in some guys with better hands than, I don't know. I mean, Deebo and Ayuk don't have bad hands, but Ayuk did drop. Well, I mean, Deebo dropped a bunch of passes his rookie year. I don't know.
I think there's a good chance he'll fix it. I mean, another part people talk about a lot is his work ethic. So I would think that he's probably going to appropriate the proper time to get that fixed. But we'll see, because he didn't. If you watch his college film, it's not there. So I watched 2 games and I don't see it.
The ball's too big for him. He has small hands.
I looked at that too. He has similar about the same size as Jimmy Garoppolo and some other quarterbacks. So
Jimmy doesn't throw a great spiral either. He just doesn't throw it hard.
I think I mean, even his hands are a little smaller than Patrick Mahomes. Because that was the first thing I thought of. So I started looking at that.
You know what's not going to help the wobble? Broken finger.
No, that's not going to.
That's not going to help. He did throw some really wild passes in the third quarter of that game against the Raiders. I guess we know why. Broken finger.
There you go. It's got to be something, right? I don't know what it is. I can't really put my finger on it, but I think it's. Yeah, it is. It is significant.
Because you're not seeing it with
now.
No. My Rhino says, I think. What?
I was going to say, I think that the Niners also should appropriate the time to fix it. I know they've said in the past that they don't work on mechanics in practice because that's on him, right? But if I were them, I would spend some time trying to get that fixed because it's affecting your receivers.
I
And
mean, they
it's
just don't have like any quarterback specialists on the team. Rich Scangarello never played the position. Kyle Shanahan never played the position. I think like Scangarello and Shanahan are more like scheme coaches. They're more interested in X's and O's. They're more. I think they have more experience like calling plays and drawing up playbooks than working with quarterbacks. So not really sure. 'Cause I think it's a little discouraging that you didn't see Trey make strides with the short passes. I mean, I was kind of expecting him to stop doing that, and he didn't. And that's like I said, he's the most gifted quarterback I've ever seen. That doesn't mean he's even going to be good because in
right.
football, I think what people don't realize is coaching always matters, and the fact that Patrick Mahomes is great. Well, he also has a great coach. Joe Montana also had a great coach. I mean, if Joe Montana had gone to the Bears, he might have been wasted. He might have sucked. Who knows?
It's why the coaches get paid so much. It's why
Exactly.
if you look at these college coaches, they're the highest paid state employee, right?
Yeah, that's
Because
right.
they matter.
They do matter. My Rhino says, I think Jimmy is traded by the deadline. Some team, Houston, will need him. Plus, I need him gone as the women of my life constantly sigh when they see him. I don't know, man. I
Yikes,
don't
right
know.
now.
What would take for them that they'd have to really feel comfortable, confident in Trey Lance, and they haven't really expressed any of that. They haven't really expressed confidence like that. Yeah.
They would need a couple things happen. They would need to express to have some confidence Trey Lance, and then they would need something else to happen at another team,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, they would need Jimmy to really, really play well,
Right.
like to where like, oh wow, we got to get, we got to go get Jimmy Garoppolo because he's going to be lights out.
True.
I don't really see any of that happening, honestly.